Hey everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today. We are going to tackle a real heavyweight topic, one that you absolutely without a doubt need to know inside and out for your CMA exam. We're talking about the balanced scorecard. Think of this explainer as your ultimate guide. As your mentor, I really want you to know right off the bat that the balanced scorecard, it's not just another boring report you file away in a cabinet. No, it is a full-blown strategic management system. It's the critical bridge between a company's high-level, pie-in-the-sky mission statement and the daily, on-the-ground actions of literally every single employee.
To make absolutely sure you're prepped and confident for exam day, here is our exact game plan. 1. Why we need balance. 2. The core 4 perspectives. 3. The chain reaction. 4. Implementation pitfalls. And 5. Mastering the CMA exam. So let's just get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into section 1. Why we need balance.
To really appreciate the genius of this framework, we have to look back at the historical problem with traditional management. Prior to the 1990s, business leaders kind of had tunnel vision. They looked almost exclusively at the financial bottom line. But here's the thing. Running a business while only looking at your financial results is exactly like driving a really fast car while staring exclusively in the rearview mirror. I mean, sure, you know exactly where you've been, but you have literally no idea what's about to hit you through the windshield. And that is exactly why Dr. Robert Kaplan and Dr. David Norton created this whole framework. The balanced scorecard literally balances out those traditional backward-looking financial metrics with forward-looking non-financial drivers. That way we're ensuring long-term health and not just focusing on short-term gains.
Moving right along to section 2, the core 4 perspectives. This is the absolute heart of the framework. For a balanced scorecard to actually work, every single key performance indicator, every KPI in a company has to fit neatly into one of 4 specific buckets. Let's look at our first bucket, the financial perspective. You can think of this as the ultimate goal. It answers a really vital question: how do we look to our shareholders? At the end of the day, a for-profit company has to generate value, right? So for your CMA exam, you need to firmly associate this destination with specific metrics. We're talking things like return on investment, or ROI, residual income, and overall sales growth. Now, moving to the second bucket, we have the customer perspective. If financials are the ultimate goal, well, you can think of customers as the literal source. After all, without them, there's no sales to measure. This bucket asks, how do our customers view us? To track this, we look at non-financial metrics, things like customer satisfaction, our overall market share, and important operational markers like on-time delivery rates. Our third bucket is internal business processes. Think of this as the operational means. It essentially asks, what must the company excel at across the entire value chain? We're talking about everything from initial, ground-up innovation right through to after-sales service. You'd measure this using things like cycle time, setup time, and quality yield. Oh, and here is a really quick, very important exam tip for you. If a multiple-choice question starts describing a new patent filed, you need to categorize it carefully. Patents come from innovation, right? So that usually falls right here under internal process, or sometimes the next bucket we're about to discuss, depending entirely on the specific context of the question. Keep an eye out for that.
And that brings us to our fourth and final bucket, learning and growth. Now, what's really interesting here is that this is the foundation of the entire house. It asks, how does the company continue to improve its people, its systems, and its corporate culture? Notice that this perspective focuses entirely on human capital and infrastructure. We measure this foundational layer by looking at metrics like employee turnover, the number of training hours completed, and whether or not employees actually have access to real-time data.
All right, on to section 3, the chain reaction.
Now, up to this point, we've just been looking at 4 isolated buckets. But when we introduce what's called the strategy map, oh, that is the secret sauce. That's where they transform into a living, dynamic system. Let's walk through this exact if-then logic together, step by step. Step 1. If we train our employees well, which is learning and growth, then, step 2, they are going to operate the factory machines much more efficiently, which hits our internal process. Then, step 3, because our processes are super efficient, customers will receive higher quality products faster. Boom, that's the customer perspective. And finally, then step 4, our sales and profits will increase, meaning we've achieved our financial goal. I have to explicitly warn you right here. On the exam, you must always look for this cause and effect relationship, because honestly, a scorecard without this chain reaction is just a meaningless collection of numbers.
Which leads us perfectly into section 4, common implementation pitfalls.
Because let's be real, even perfectly designed strategies fail in the real world. And guess what? The CMA exam absolutely loves to test you on why that happens. So let's look at the 4 major hurdles you need to avoid. First trap, too many measures. Remember, if everything is a priority, absolutely nothing is a priority. Second, lack of top management buy-in. A balanced scorecard cannot just be some pet project for HR or the accounting department. Executive leadership actually has to own it. Third hurdle, using metrics for punishment. The scorecard is supposed to be a tool for improvement. Think about the human psychology here. If employees are absolutely terrified of the metrics, they will inevitably game the system just to protect themselves. And fourth, ignoring the non-financials. If leadership goes around saying they love the balanced scorecard, but then they turn around and tie all end-of-year bonuses strictly to ROI, yeah, employees are going to completely ignore the other 3 perspectives, for sure.
Finally, we've reached Section 5, Mastering the CMA Exam.
So, what is the ultimate purpose of all of this? Well, the balanced scorecard takes an abstract strategy and turns it into a living document to solve a massive corporate problem. That problem is known as goal congruence. The scorecard beautifully shows every single person in the organization how their specific, daily job directly impacts the big picture and the company's financial bottom line. To master this for the exam, consider this table your ultimate cheat sheet. We've got our 4 perspectives, the key question to ask for each, like asking, are we ready for the future for learning and growth, and the common CMA metrics associated with them, things like ROI, Net Promoter Score, cycle time, or IT availability. I highly advise you to mentally bookmark this exact layout. It's going to be your absolute best visual guide for quickly categorizing metrics and eliminating wrong answers on the test.
And just like that, you have mastered the framework of the balanced scorecard. I am so incredibly proud of the hard work you're putting into this prep. Keep your eyes on the balance, stay intensely focused on that cause and effect relationship, and you are gonna absolutely ace this section. You're doing amazing, keep it up. But right before I officially dismiss the class for this explainer, I want to leave a final exam challenge question hanging in the air to truly test your readiness. Ready? Think back to our chain reaction. In a strategy map, which of the 4 perspectives is considered the ultimate leading indicator, the very bottom of the chain that supports all the others? Think about it, trust the knowledge you just built, and I will see you next time.